Hi there, and welcome to the Flying Heart Yoga Digital Library. I am Willis, and this will be a brief meditation centered around finding joy within with the holidays in mind. Of course, this meditation could be done at any time, but it is being filmed currently right before Christmas and New Year's, and so I thought it would be a nice time to share a meditation with you all that was, again, focused on finding the joy within. The holidays are often marketed to be about merry and bright days. And certainly that can be the case, and actually more often than not, that's not the case. It can be a difficult time, it can be a time of grieving or longing, it can be a time of feeling alone. There's so much that can be happening and swirling around within us and around us during the holidays. So this will be just a practice of going inward, where I personally believe, some days harder to tap into than others, that we have a reservoir of joy within us. And it really is going in that allows us to then go out in a way that is more merry and more bright. So please find a comfortable seat. You can sit upon anything that gives you support, hips above the knees, so that you have some ease in those joints and you can let the spine float long and tall toward the sky. Crown of the head reaches up, eyes can close or soften, shoulders soften down the back. And then just go ahead and bring your awareness inward right away by focusing on your beautiful, potent breath. Keeping the mouth sealed, breathing in and out through the nose. And just notice the quality of your breath. It might be that life has been incredibly fast during this season for you. I know for me, I've been running from one thing to the next. So if that's you, you might be in the habit of breathing high into the chest, up toward the collarbones. So see if you can start to descend the breath deeper. I like to imagine that I put two little lungs right below the navel. And it's those two little lungs below the navel that then start the breath cycle. And then that moves all the way up to the upper abdomen, the chest, rib cage expanding. And as if you're filling yourself up with cosmic elixir, fill yourself up from the bottom to the top. So you're not bypassing or missing your depths. You're not just going high. You start to dig deep with the breath. And after a few rounds, you might notice that you start to feel a bit more calm, a bit more grounded, a bit more centered. And always know that a really good trick with the breath is to practice Ujjayi pranayama, toning the back of your throat so that you can hear the sound of your breath. Incredibly helpful in bringing yourself into the present moment. You're starting to corral your senses. With the eyes closed, you're focusing on your inner vision. With your breath audible, you're bringing your hearing back to yourself. Sensing into the body and the integrity of your structure. You start to bring your sense of feeling inside yourself. And now bring into your heart an experience, a person, an activity, something that brings you joy. And despite the world spinning fast around you, despite any demands that the holiday season puts on you, and despite any difficult situations you find yourself in, can you come to joy via an outside source, a person, an experience, a memory, a color? It can be anything that acts as a key into the door of the room of joy. And as you consider this access point for your joy, also notice how your chemistry shifts. You may have all of a sudden moved the heart and the lungs to the front instead of rounding into the back. You may have grown a little taller, perhaps the corners of your mouth turned upward slightly or greatly. Or maybe it's a temperature change. Maybe you feel a bit warm and cozy. Just noticing how this awareness of a joy source affects your body, your breath, your chemistry. And then can you, in a sense, package up this feeling of joy, this essence of joy, and can you keep the essence and release the outside source or the key into this feeling of joy? And place a beautiful orb of light at the center of your chest. So that this essence, which is joyful and blissful and grateful, resides within you. Most of the greatest yogic teachings speak to this idea that we are inherently bliss. We are inherently love. We are inherently anything that is a derivative of love. And I believe joy is one of those things. So as you inhale, breathe into this reservoir of joy at the center of your chest. And as you exhale, imagine you radiate joy out to the periphery, putting yourself in the middle of a beautiful sphere. The inhale gathers resources, this joy within you. And the exhale moves this joy out all around you, radiantly, brightly, merrily. And as you keep breathing in this way, this inhale to reference your center, this exhale to expand out to your circumference, we'll lean into this idea that by coming back to our own center, coming back to our internal unlimited resource of joy, that we can then expand outwards and insulate ourselves with this energy. That anytime we find ourselves struggling, we can step back for a moment, we can find the center, we can reference our circumference, and then we can step back out into the world and press play again in a way that might be more insulated, more resilient. And of course, if you are finding yourself very merry and bright due to your current situation, you can use that as a recharge to fill yourself up so that when you need the reservoir most, you have a nice surplus of it. And then release that practice of inhaling at center and exhaling out to your circumference, and just let yourself sit in this space for another minute or so. Breath awareness, of being aware that you're breathing but not overly manipulating it. Residing in this joyful center of yourself that is resilient, that is expansive, that is capable of weathering the merriest of times and the hardest of times. Stay as long as you wish. There is no rush if you need a bit more time here. However, I will leave you be in this joy. It's an honor, a deep, deep honor for me to share the practice with you all. Thank you so very much. Happy holidays, and we'll see you soon. Namaste.